Finally found a spot shallow enough to cross. I only brought my hip waders with, and this river is about 3-4 feet deep in most spots. But right here it looks like it's only maybe a foot or two. There's this oak island out in the middle of this huge marsh. That's what I plan to set up around. Well, that was slightly treacherous, but I made it. Had about 3 inches to spare on my hip waders. So it'll be interesting coming out of here when it's dark. So that island didn't look like it produced oaks or acorns this year. And I saw some other hunter sign in there, and I really didn't see anything for buck sign, no rubs or scrapes. I was actually pretty surprised that I didn't see anything. So I'm heading north through this swamp, which is about a half a mile wide. Just picking my way through here. And I'm starting to see a lot more buck sign. I'm heading up towards, there's an edge where it looks like the cover changes from this bushy dead ash trees, dead elm trees, to looks like maybe just a little bit higher ground. So see a nice rub right up here. I see some more up ahead of me. There's one right over there. I think a buck was using this at one time this season pretty heavily for bedding. It's just slightly higher here, not as wet. I'm all set up here. It's Saturday, December 3rd. Wisconsin has some metro units where you can still use a rifle. I've only been on this property one other time in the springtime doing some scouting, but I got the rifle with me today. And I had crossed that river, came across that oak island, didn't see much for sign. Then the buck sign started to pick up in the swamp, but there wasn't any real good spot to set up that I was confident in. And so, long story short, I am probably 3/4 of a mile from that oak island, probably 2 miles from my truck. And it's about 2 o'clock, and I don't know if I'm going to find a better setup than here. I'm not super confident in it, but there is an old scrape about 20 yards away, and there's quite a few trails that all converge right here. I'll spin the camera around. So we have a small river running through there. And on the other side of it, about a half mile away, is private land and some ag fields. And this spring I scouted this whole area, and I found a few beds and a few old rubs and some other buck sign, along with a cell camera or two, of course. But this river goes out along that way, and there's a gigantic cattail marsh out in there. And over there is kind of a swampy elm trees and ash trees type swamp with red brush and all that kinds of stuff. There is a really nice rub right over there that I had found last year, so I gotta believe there's at least 1 or 2 nice bucks down in here. And there's a series of trails coming. They're all heading east, and a couple coming up kind of towards this way. And then back behind me, it looks really thick right where I'm at, but I'm just on kind of a clump of cover here. Beyond this is all real open grass that's been matted down by probably the snow we got a couple weeks ago. And there's a picked cornfield over here, about maybe close close to half a mile away. And oh, I just spotted a pheasant hunter. A couple of them. Yeah, 3 hunters just walked by right there. I don't know if they're deer hunters or what. That kind of sucks. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. If anything, maybe they'll kick some deer over this way. They're heading out into this thick brush. I've only seen 2 hunters within a couple hundred yards of me all season long. And here we are in the late muzzleloader. So I better keep my eyes open in case they kick some deer my way. Just thinking about those hunters walking through here. This is a metro unit, so it's pretty heavily populated around here. I'm wondering if this chunk of, I mean, it's a big piece of public property. I think it's close to 4,500 acres. But I just wonder if it really gets a lot of pressure. I've never actually hunted it before. There's a lot of deer sign as far as trails and droppings and stuff, but I just haven't seen much for buck sign to get me too excited. So kind of hard to tell. Got about 45 minutes of light left. Normally I'd be pretty excited right now, but it's pretty clear there's a lot of pressure on this property. Just had a guy walk by about 100 yards away in full camo, no orange at all. I don't know what he's doing. He didn't have a gun or a bow or anything with him. And he came from one bedding area that is expecting deer to come from, and he walked into the other one. And then about 300 yards from me on private land, there's a guy. I can see him set up in, it must be a ladder stand or something. But I think that's why I'm not seeing too much for deer sign, or at least buck sign, is there's a lot of people out here. And I'm back deep. I'm probably, the closest parking area's gotta be 3/4 of a mile. So, I don't know. Might have to scratch this one. With all this activity going on around me, I think my best bet, I'm just gonna get down from this tree and start still hunting my way back to the truck closer to that cornfield. I feel like the spot's pretty much shot right now after having 4 guys walk within 150 yards of me in the last hour. And this last one is the one that really hurts, because he literally walked right through every spot that I would imagine any deer would come from. So I'm gonna climb down. I just kicked up a doe right here, about 70 yards ahead of me. Thought about shooting her, but it's like over a mile and a half back to my truck. Task I don't really want to do right now. I saw that guy in camo again. He had a stand on his back. I think he was coming out here just to grab his tree stand. He's definitely on a mission, moving fast. Well, I'm on a main path to get back to my truck, but This hunt was definitely a wash. I saw 2 more hunters on the way back, and there's a guy about 200 yards ahead of me on the path heading back as well. So this property gets pounded pretty hard. I'm sure there are some big bucks in there. It's just a matter of trying to figure out where they're at, and they're avoiding the pressure somehow. Probably in that really thick swamp where I was finding all those rubs. It'd be really challenging to hunt them in there because it's so thick, but could pay off. So until next time, catch you later.